Old Yang. Old Yin. Old Yin. Young Yang. Young Yang. Young Yang. We have heaven above something. Got solid, broken, broken, with solid, solid, solid stacked upon it. That gives us hexagram 25. And supporting hexagram, our changing lines change, so what once was solid, broken, broken becomes broken, solid, solid. And our supporting hexagram is hexagram 44. Going straight into the Taoist I Ching, translated by Thomas Cleary. originally written in 1796 by a Taoist adept named Lu Yiming. Hexagram 25 in this translation is fidelity, no error. Vigorous advancement of celestial energy, attention to reality. That's kind of the basic 25. And then 44 is meeting, warding off negative influences, preserving the positive. Okay. I'm going to read our first hexagram. Fidelity, no error. Hexagram 25. Fidelity is creative and developmental. It is beneficial to be correct. If it is not correct, there will be disaster, and it will not be beneficial to go anywhere. Fidelity means wholehearted sincerity without duplicity. As for the qualities of the hexagram, above is heaven, strong, and below is thunder, active. Being active, firm and strong, wherever one's determination lies, one carries it out, therefore it is called fidelity. This hexagram represents vigorous advancement of yang. It follows on the previous hexagram, stripping away. Stripping away means that when one submits to one's desires, yin strips away yang. The stripping away of yang is all because of not knowing how to advance yang, and having it stripped away by yin. If you know how to advance yang, and with total attention purely on reality, 24 hours a day, without interruption, consider essence and life the one matter of importance, then external things cannot thwart you, and you can gradually reach true fidelity, the state of integration with celestial principle. This is fidelity with the path of creation and development. In the hexagram, the action is in the inside. This is setting the will on the Tao. Once the heart is set on the Tao and the living potential is activated, the original creative energy returns. In the hexagram, the strength is on the outside. This is earnestness in practice. When earnestness in practice, celestial qualities can be cultivated and the original creative energy can grow. It is through this restoration and growth that fidelity is creative and developmental. However, though one be capable of creativity and development, it is of course inevitable that it is only beneficial if the action is correct and the strength is correct. When action is correct, the original creative energy is not damaged. When strength is correct, the original creative energy increases. By correct fidelity, the mind of Tao is always present. The human mentality becomes extinct, and one sees again the original self as it really is, at peace, unmoved by myriad things. If fidelity is not right, then when one acts, it is not at the right time, and exertion of strength is inappropriate. Though one originally wanted fidelity without error, on the contrary, one produces falsehood and error. This is called disaster, in which case it is not beneficial to go anywhere. The advancement of yang is aimed at fidelity to truth, because there is vanity and falsehood. Fidelity that is not right does things on the basis of the human mind, acting in pursuit of personal desires. Then the medicinal substances are not genuine. The firing process is amiss. How can one complete the great path? Therefore, the path of fidelity, in which creation and development are inherent, is most beneficial when correctly oriented. Only then is it genuinely fidelity without error. And our supporting hexagram is 44. So we will turn there now. Meeting. Meeting. The woman is strong. Don't get married. Explanation. Meeting means encounter, unexpected encounter. In the body of the hexagram there is one yin which enters under 5 yangs. 5 yangs meet one yin, so it is called meeting. How this relates to our previous hexagram, I'll just say, Hilary Barrett says it really great, but essentially our first hexagram maps out the broad landscape, and our supporting hexagram kind of shows you where you sit within that landscape, or what you might be coming and encountering in the near future, or kind of your place within it all, right? So that's what we're reading now, is meeting, our supporting hexagram. And then after this, we'll read our changing lines, which are like the pin in the map of more precisely where we might be at. So continuing on in hexagram 44, meeting. This hexagram represents warding off mundanity and preserving celestial energy. It follows on the previous hexagram, increase. Increase means augmenting insufficient celestial energy. To augment what is insufficient means adding from 1 yang until there are 6 yangs, so that finally positive celestial yang is pure and complete. However, when yang culminates, yin is inevitable. 1 yin surreptitiously arises and the yang energy is damaged. This is why the text says, meeting, the woman is strong. However, the inevitability of yin when yang culminates is the path of the temporal. Going along with creation, if one can borrow the earthly to complete the celestial, the sage's science of reverse operation to get back to the primordial, and as in the 2nd and 5th lines of this hexagram, have strength and balance, attaining the power to adapt to changes, having flexibility within firmness and firmness within flexibility, one can thereby go in and out of yin and yang without being constrained by yin and yang. Using yin without being used by yin is like meeting a woman but not marrying her. Through earthly yin energy, though earthly yin energy be strong, after all it will obey celestial yang energy. Not only will the yang energy not be damaged, the yin energy will gradually sublimate. This is why the work of warding off mundanity is valued. Back to 25. Fidelity, no error. We're going to read changing lines 1, 2, and 3. And these are kind of the most important part of the reading as far as where we stand, most likely, or something that we might be running into. First yang, fidelity without error. It is auspicious to go. Explanation. In the beginning of fidelity, when one is firm and has found what is right, one does not dare to have any vanity. The fortunes of human affairs are all in the beginning of arousing thought. If thought is correct, then action is correct. If thought is wrong, action is wrong. If one can be without error within, then one will naturally be without error outwardly. If one goes on thereby to practice the Tao, one will not fail to attain good fortune. This is fidelity in which one is able to be careful in the beginning. And our second changing line, not plowing or harvesting, not making new fields, then it is beneficial to go somewhere. Explanation. So again, I'm going to turn, before we read this, to Hilary Barrett. She's going to show the broad context of the changing lines. The first changing line, the one we just read, refers to inklings just beginning to sense what could be involved or needed. And the line that we're on now is line 2, and that has a broad context of the heart's perception, the emotional center, where you make and feel connections. And then the next line that we'll read after this one will be line 3. And the context for that is an emerging identity facing a transition with fear or desire, resolution or indecision. So again, the context of this changing line that we're reading now is the heart's perception, the emotional center where you make and feel connections. Not plowing or harvesting, not making new fields, then it is beneficial to go somewhere. Explanation. When one is flexible but not firm, it is appropriate to be still, not to be active. This is like not plowing or harvesting, not making new fields. To plow and harvest, to open new fields, requires that one have strength, and plow and harvest to open new fields requires that one that one have strength and seed to do this. When one is yielding without firmness, one has no strength, no seed. How can one presume to act arbitrarily? However, how can one presume to act arbitrarily? However, if flexibility is properly balanced and one keeps oneself open-minded, one can borrow another's yang to balance one's own yin. Emptying the mind, one can fill the belly. Using flexibility in this way, it is beneficial to go somewhere. Emptying the mind is emptying the human mind. Filling the belly is filling your sense of the flow of the Tao, the way. And what is? Emptying the mind, one can fill the belly. Using flexibility in this way, it is beneficial to go somewhere. One with error can thus be freed from error. This is fidelity, flexibly following the firm. And now, again, with the context of an emerging identity facing transition with fear or desire, resolution or indecision. We're on to line 3. The misfortune of fidelity. A tethered ox is a gain for a traveler, misfortune for the townspeople. Explanation. If one's wisdom is small, yet one has great schemes, wrongly seeking the treasure of heaven, not only will there be no gain, it will even harm one. This is the misfortune of fidelity. Causing misfortune by fidelity is following the contrivances of the mind, clinging tightly without giving way. This is like a tethered ox, a gain for a traveler, misfortune for the townspeople. Before one gets anything from others, one first loses oneself. Even if true yang is in view, it is not one's own. This is fidelity following desires. All right, and for a little more context, we'll read the commentary section for both of these hexagrams. "25, no error." Our first hexagram, heaven above, thunder below. Thunder moves under heaven, things accompany with no error. Thus did the kings of yore promote flourishing appropriate to the time and nurture myriad beings. No error means no wandering mind and no arbitrary action. Above is heaven, below is thunder. Thunder moves under heaven. When thunder is active in accord with the times of nature, myriad things stir with it. As long as the thunder is without error, myriad things also are without error. This is the image of no error. What the ancient kings saw in this was that just as nature gives birth to beings with time, sages develop people with virtue. Therefore, they cause the Tao of perfect sincerity without error to flourish, fulfilling themselves and fulfilling others, responding to the times of nature, nurturing myriad beings, causing all to live according to their true natures, and to eventually be free from error. By promoting flourishing appropriate to the time so that the growth and the season are in harmony, thus nurturing beings so that all will have their places, the activity of nurturing according to the time shares the function of heaven and the movement and stillness of thunder. How could there be error? When practitioners of the Tao make no error in process or proportion and advance and withdraw, hurry and relax in the proper manner, this also promotes flourishing appropriate to the time, unifying the elements of being into a single integral energy so that myriad principles ultimately coalesce is also nurturing myriad beings. Developing beings according to the time, all beings are imbued with reality, and all ultimately are free from error. Thus it is that heaven and thunder have no error. Thus it is that the ancient kings had no error, and thus it is that that practice of the Tao is without error. The way to be free from error is to act in a manner that is appropriate to the time. our supporting hexagram 44, meeting. Heaven above, wind below. There's wind under heaven, meeting. Thus do rulers announce their directives to the four quarters. Meeting is getting together. Above is heaven, below is wind. There is wind under heaven. Heaven creates myriad beings but cannot stir them. It is with the blowing of the wind that myriad beings stir. Thus heaven gets together with myriad beings through the agency of the wind. This is the image of meeting. What rulers see in this is that just as heaven and myriad beings are far apart and cannot easily get together, but with the blowing of the wind those who have not gotten together do meet. In the same way, rulers are far apart from their subjects and cannot easily get together, but with the announcement of directives, those who have not met can in fact meet. Therefore, they give out directives for the education and guidance of the people, announcing them to the four quarters. The four quarters are distant, and the local customs are not the same. How can everyone be taught personally? But when rulers give out directives, then everyone follows their direction, and those far and near are affected. This is like the wind under heaven, reaching everywhere, getting into everything. The ruler is heaven. The directive is the wind. Where the wind reaches, things stir. Where the directive reaches, the people are guided. The way sages teach people is also like this. Just as rulers have directives that they announce to the four quarters, sages have classic writings that they use to teach later generations. They leave classic writings in the world for later generations, and students who hear them are stirred. Those who read them are inspired. Even 100 generations later, people are roused and come face to face with the sages. The influence of the sages does not extend only to the four quarters of their own time. When rulers and sages love all beings and are in sensitive contact with all beings, they are upholding the practice of heaven. And now from Hilary Barrett. Without entanglement is what she calls 25. Key questions. What is real? What is genuinely your responsibility and what is not yours at all? Oracle. Without entanglement, creating success from the source, constancy bears fruit. One who is not upright commits blunders, and it is fruitless to have a direction to go. To be entangled is to be caught up in futile, groundless things, deluded beliefs or reckless actions, or a compulsion to rewrite the past or control the future. When you are without entanglement, you recognize what is not yours and you will not take it on. Sometimes other people's problems are not yours to solve. Sometimes bad things happen to you and are not your responsibility. Freedom from entanglement brings extraordinary energy. It liberates the whole creative flow, from source to enduring fruition, natural and spontaneous as a growing plant. This is the creative potential latent in the present moment. To connect with it, you need to be conscious of your place on the earth and set yourself straight accordingly. Entanglements are groundless. If you realign your course with present reality, you are well grounded. If you don't, you will make bad mistakes. Now is a good time to reevaluate your plans, dreams, and goals. Imagining new places to go is of no use if you can't see where you are. And in any case, even the clearest of plans is not immune to chance. Image. Below heaven, thunder moves. All things interact without entanglement. The ancient kings with abundant growth, in accord with the seasons, nourished the 10,000 things. Those who are without entanglement are like the natural world, effortlessly in harmony with the quality of the time, connected to the natural movement of heaven with immediacy of thunder. The ancient kings could nourish the whole world with the abundance of seasonal growth without ever making anything grow. In the sequence, being without entanglement follows from hexagram 24, returning. I think that's what we got yesterday, actually. Return. If you come back to your own path, and I think we got 26, great taming. Yeah, so we got 25 right between the two that we got yesterday. That's interesting. Returning, and so truly without entanglement. If you come back to your own path and calmly follow where it leads, naturally you will be free from entanglement. First, you nurture your inner sense of the way and allow time for this seed to germinate. Then you can disengage from illusion and connect with the underlying truth, and the seed can grow in its season. It pairs with Hexagram 26, great taming. Without entanglement means calamity. Great taming means the right time. Without entanglement marks a time when bad things can happen through no fault of your own. It is a time to disengage from the misfortune, not yet the right moment to assume ownership of everything in your domain and take action. And our supporting hexagram of 44. I've heard that you just read the image of this one. I've been reading all of it before, so I'm just going to stick to what I was doing, but I'll start with the image. How about that? I know you want to know what the whole thing says, and besides that, we read out of this one, its whole thing. It didn't have an image section, so I think it's all probably pretty valuable. Image. Below heaven is the wind, coupling. The prince sends out mandates and commands to the four corners of the earth. And the explanation for that, well, that was the image. So we'll reread from the beginning and then we'll flow it through to the very end, taking the image in again. Key questions. What would be an adequate response to this new energy? Coupling is the hexagram, is what it's titled. How far could this change go? How far will you let it go? Coupling, the woman is powerful, do not take this woman. Coupling means meeting, and also a woman who gives birth to the heir, the powerful woman. She represents someone of either sex or something with a profound and mysterious power to attract you, to take over, and to change everything. She moves you, re-energizes, and gives birth to new life. The oracle warns you not to take the woman, not to try to seize control of her, and not to marry her. Do not imagine that you can bring her under control, assimilate her into your life, and continue as before. Such a marriage cannot last. This woman has more power than any system where you might try to contain her. She might bring desires that undermine a well-balanced life, or an eruption of feeling into a realm of abstractions, or chance and irrationality to threaten a logical, ordered mind. Perhaps you will stand fast and resist this power's attraction. Perhaps you will embrace her briefly and let your life be transformed by the encounter, but you cannot take her or marry her. Image. Below heaven is the wind, coupling. The prince sends out mandates and commands to the four corners of the earth. And here's the explanation for that image. The wind travels everywhere under heaven and penetrates every corner of the world. The prince receives the mandate, orders from heaven, and it penetrates to his core and travels through him. He cannot control or contain such power, but he can broadcast it to change his whole realm. Sequence. Coupling follows from hexagram 43, deciding. Breaking through must mean meeting, and so coupling follows. Coupling means meeting. Hexagram 43 broke through indecision and separated cleanly from all that did not belong. Now, whatever you excluded comes back to meet you and opens a space where unknowable possibilities can enter. And then we'll read Hilary Barrett's interpretation of the changing lines, our 3 changing lines, starting with line 1 in hexagram 25, without entanglement. Without entanglement, going on, good fortune. And remember, this is inklings. This is in the context of inklings, just beginning to sense what could be involved or needed. When there are obstacles, perhaps when the free flow of communication is blocked, this does not mean it is your job to engage and grapple with the problem. Making progress is not the same thing as clearing blockages. Not when you can simply walk past them, disentangled, and move on. And then line 2, in the context of the heart's perception, the emotional center, where you make and feel connections, line 2. Not plowing and reaping, not weeding cleared fields, and so then it is fruitful to have a direction to go. The endless round of farming chores blurs into a frenzy of work. There would be no use in getting caught up in all that effort without ever clarifying whether it will achieve what you want. After all, you are not your work. So when you stop trying to do everything at once, then it will be worthwhile to know your next step, which is as much as you need to know. Then you can go your way both lightly and purposefully, joining with a more potent creative energy. The I Ching, man. I'm telling you right now. Line 3, an emerging identity facing a transition with fear or desire, resolution or indecision. The disaster of disentangling, this is line 3. Maybe someone tethered a cow, traveling people's gain, townspeople's disaster. Townspeople identify with their group and want to stay in one place, and also expect what they value to stay where they tether it. But this is an imaginary security. The valuable things of life are like cattle, free roaming and quite capable of walking away. Meanwhile, travelers are mobile and flexible. They don't need to own much and are always on the alert for changes, ready to benefit from the unexpected. So disentangling brings disaster for the townspeople while the travelers gain. Which of these are you? And which would you choose to be? Wow. Just because I did last time, I'm going to pull another one of these power cards. I think they're similar kinds of helpfulness. They empower us. They empower me. Definitely not, in my opinion, on the same level as the I Ching, but fun little snack at the end, right? Sorry, Lynn V. Andrews. This is a good deck, trust me. I mean, you're about to find out. There it is, intuition. And beautiful scenery as well. Card number 23. Intuition, West, black. From the left side of your body comes your female energy, whether you are a man or a woman. Within this femaleness, this feminine consciousness, lives your intuition. Intuition is the intelligence of your body-mind. You feel what is true with your body-mind rather than know what is true with your mind. Intuition does not have the clouds of accumulated knowledge to distort your vision. Intuition simply sees what is the truth. With intuition, you can feel the source of your being without reasoning it away and being filled with doubt. Doubt destroys your intuition. Find your power always in balance between mind and intuition. Definition of the card. Painting is entitled Sanctuary. Intuition is a process found in introspection, which lives in the West as shown by the portal of entrance into other worlds deep beneath the earth. This painting symbolizes the hidden universe within, the innocence of the deer, the monk symbolizing our spiritual being, and the sphere of universal knowledge intimate that we all are one. Intimate that we all are one. As above, so below. Intuition is a receptive power that leads you to your understanding of Mother Earth. The gateway to healing her and bringing magic into your life is intuition. Thank you. Bless you.